Hi, my name is Vermin Tax Corps, and I like to do these informational videos to help taxpayers through their issues with the Internal Revenue Service. And so I've been seeing a trend with a lot of my clients, and that is they contact me after a revenue officer has contacted them. So a revenue officer, if you don't know what it is, it's someone who's paid by the IRS to collect unpaid taxes and tax returns up to whatever amount you owe, hundreds of millions of dollars. So a revenue officer is a type A personality. They are basically immune to excuses. They are fixated on getting the government's money and unpaid tax returns. They're the advocate for the IRS. They've got varying degrees of educational backgrounds. There's some revenue officers that are certified public accountants. There are some who just have bachelor's degrees in accounting. But they all have one thing in common. They're serious about their jobs, and they want to get the money that's owed if you owe money or that unfiled tax return. So by the time your case gets to a revenue officer, you've gotten a series of letters, you may have gotten some telephone calls, and then they've gone unaddressed or ignored for a certain amount of time. So the way revenue officers get you into their inventory is the database will have all these names in it of delinquent taxpayers. That list is usually tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of names long. A revenue officer is assigned to your zip code. So there may be 200 or 300 people in your zip code waiting to be contacted by the IRS. Well, when he shows up at your place of business, depending on how much money you owe, they will have already known all of your vehicles that you own, every address you've ever lived at, your personal property records, whether or not you've got mortgages, mortgage interest, lines of credit. They've pulled your credit bureau report. They've even done a personal background check on you to know if you have a criminal history, if you've got firearms registered in your name, if you've ever been convicted of a crime or misdemeanor. They know everything about you before they show up at your house or place of business when they ask you to pay your tax liability. They know their job and they're serious. And so you can greatly determine how they deal with you by your first few words out of your mouth. And it usually goes like this. Hi, my name is Vernon with the Internal Revenue Service, and you owe about $822,000 from your past due tax returns from 2012 through 2016. Can you pay that today? And they'll look at you, and you'll of course say, no, I can't pay that today. Well, whether you're going to fall into one or two categories: can't pay or won't pay. Can't pay taxpayers are those who cannot pay the $800,000, but will work with you as a revenue officer to come up with a payment plan or a strategy to get this tax reduced. Won't pay is, I'm not paying it and I don't think it's a valid liability. Why are you chasing me and not all these other deadbeats? Why are you looking at me and not doing something else more productive with your time? If you are a jerk to the revenue officer in that moment, that will determine the rest of the trajectory of how they deal with you. I'll give you an example. So I will ask you for the full payment. You'll say no, and you'll get angry and berate me and use profanity and throw me out of your home or place of business. I'm going to leave you some items. I'm going to leave you a publication 1, publication 594, and publication 1660. I'm also going to leave you a form 9297 telling you what you owe to the IRS, what tax returns may or may not be due, and when your deadline is to turn those in to me. And let's say I give you 15 days. And so on the 15th of the month, I will be at my office. And if you were a jerk to me, I will be sitting at my office at 4:55 p.m. and I'll look at my watch and I'll call the secretary at the front and I'll say, hey, did Mr. and Mrs. Jones show up with $800,000 in their 5 years of tax returns they didn't file? She's gonna say no. And I'll look down at my watch again. And at 4:59, I'm gonna go to my computer, I'm gonna print a form, and I'm gonna take it to the bank the next morning, or I'm gonna put it in the mail, and I'm gonna seize every asset of yours I can get my hands on. If you show up the next afternoon at 1 o'clock with everything I asked for, I'm still not gonna release that levy, because the manual says that I'm supposed to take a disciplinary action against you for failing to take an action on the deadline that I gave you. If you were a jerk, I'm not releasing that levy. And there's nothing in the manual that requires me to release it because you gave me what I asked for. You missed a deadline. And because you were a jerk, I'm going to follow my job to the letter of the law. Now, reverse that. I show up and I ask for this money and you, well, listen, I'm sorry, I can't pay it today, but what can I do? And you give me the publications, you have a pleasant conversation with me and you say, okay, well, let me get the information together. Let me contact my tax professional and I'll get back with you. 15 days goes by. I don't get my information by 5 o'clock. I might be compelled to pick up the phone and say, hey, you missed your deadline. Are you? Yes, I'm on my way. I'll be there at 1 o'clock. I may not levy your bank account that day. I may even give you 3 or 4 or 5 days in additional time. I may give you the benefit of the doubt. I may waive some penalties and interest. I may work with you if you need more time to get things done. But if you deal with that revenue officer the wrong way at that initial instance, you're going to put yourself on a trajectory that's going to be really, really difficult to get off of. And it's going to make resolving your problem all the more worse. So if you need help dealing with your tax problems, feel free to reach out to me here at Tax Corp. You can reach me at our office telephone number is 256-429-9229. Also, you can visit us at our website at www.taxcorpllc.com. In the menu bar at the top, there's a button that says schedule a time with me. Click on that button. You can pull up my schedule for the next 2 weeks and schedule yourself a free 15-minute consultation. It costs you nothing to explain to me what's going on. I will give you my valuable insight, because no one out there is going to be able to tell you as much about your problems as me, because I did the job for a long time. I'm going to tell you what's going on. I'm going to tell you how I can fix it. And I'm going to give you a firm, fair, upfront price. And the difference between my company and a lot of other companies out there, I will see this through all the way to the end. I don't care if it takes 6 weeks. I don't care if it takes a year and a half. I've got some clients that I've been working with for 2 years. They paid their money 24 months ago. But because the IRS is so complicated, and sometimes you have to file appeals and take things to a tax court, I continue to work with you. I continue to work with you until the job is done. So please, don't ignore the IRS. Do not be a jerk to the revenue officer when they show up, because you're going to make people's job like mine a lot harder to unravel it. But you don't want to hurt yourself. Be firm, be fair, demand that they're polite and professional with you. And you don't have to give them everything that they ask for that day. Just tell them, let me gather it all together. Let me consult with my tax professional. Let me have the rights that are afforded to me in Publication 1, which is the right to representation. You don't have to answer right then and there. You don't have to, but you should be polite and professional with them, and do not let them just dictate everything to you, what you will and will not do at that point in time. You have rights. You should take advantage of them. Give us a call here at Tax Corp, 256-429-9229. I'll be happy to help you. Have a great day.